My homilies on prayer always seem to get a good response, especially when I share my own difficulties in praying. Part of my personal problem with prayer is overthinking. A wise woman once chided me for making prayer a problem. A wise rabbi has taught me not to fret over my prayer technique, but simply notice the struggle, view it with compassion, and then choose to allow God to work. Today's parable about the Pharisee and the tax collector at prayer addresses another problem, one which Jesus seems to perceive in those who oppose him. Our scripture scholar, Professor Luke Timothy Johnson, says that this parable speaks to something deep within the heart of every human. And what is that something? He says it's the way that we quickly take the love of God and turn it into an idolatrous self-love. The gift of God's love, he says, can so blithely be turned into self-accomplishment. And personally, I can see how my obsession with how am I praying is perhaps a veiled way of saying, look how hard I'm trying to pray. See how devout I am. Prayer can be transformed into boasting, Professor Johnson comments. The pious man in the temple is so self-absorbed that he has shut out God's action and even presumes to take on God's role as judge. Utter simplicity and truth mark the other man in the story, Johnson says. He knows how much he needs God, and that awareness opens him to God's gift. Our prayer is a relationship, and how we approach that prayer reveals that relationship, Johnson writes. The pathway to prayer lies in adopting the attitude of the tax collector, part of that group who found themselves so comfortable in Jesus' presence that they knew he loved and accepted them, and so they could acknowledge their needs for God's forgiveness. May we allow Jesus' call to humility to shape our prayer.